Hi, I'm Matt from HockeyReviews.ca, and this is the CCM Eflex 5 catching glove snapshot review. So just like the blocker and like the pads, this video almost didn't happen. I had to buy this set in full outright, and normally I would like to look at the previous generation and the new generation to see if there's any differences. Unfortunately, I can't afford and couldn't grab the Eflex 4s to do a comparison on these, so unfortunately I can't really talk about that. What we do have here though is the axis. Now it is a 580, so it's slightly different, but we're going to talk about just some of the different features on the axis compared to, or at least on this custom axis. We'll talk about like cuffs and stuff like that compared to what's on the Eflex 5. CCM does have a really good custom program in terms of all the different selections for the line, like how they offer 3 different break angles for either the Eflex or the axis line. So I'll kind of talk about that, but it does kind of blur the waters of what is an Eflex 5 glove and what is like the axis glove or whatever custom you do. With that said, unfortunately, I can't really talk about a lot on this set because I have to, like, I purchased it and I have to return it, so I can't do protection tests or anything like that because this has to be pristine so I can return it to the store. So I apologize for that, but that's what it is. If you want to see me review stuff like this and actually do like the glove test with this and the rebound test with the set, reach out to the companies on social media that you want to see me make content on. For example, like CCM and CCM Goalie. I don't want free custom sets. I know every company has demo fleets of gear available. I've used CCM's demo set before for the Eflex 3 line. I know people have used the demo sets for the Eflex 4 line. So if you want to see me do like reviews and use actual like usage reviews, please reach out to the companies on social media or through their contact us form on their website and say, hey, I want to see Hockey Reviews review a demo set of your gear. That's basically the only way I would really be able to use this without buying it outright. And I'm not buying this set outright because I can't buy every set before all this happens. And if you live in the United States and want to support the channel, check out the links in the description to Pure Hockey or Pure Goalie. Clicking that link, making a purchase gives me a kickback, so it'll help support the channel so I keep making content and actually doing real usage reviews so I can actually talk about usage reviews and not just snapshot reviews like this one will be. Otherwise, if you want to support the channel and you're in anywhere else or in the United States, check out Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon, links in the description. Everything that goes through there comes right back into this channel so I can keep making content and making more videos. I would love to use this glove and try the retail one out in the glove video series, but obviously I can't because this isn't mine and I can't use it. Now, the only reason I have this glove here is because there's a lot of times I have people asking which glove is comparable to the Eflex, which glove is comparable to Supreme. So these are the two that are comparable to each other. And if you look at it, you should generally see a fairly similar shape. Both of these are the similar comparisons, while the Vapor, well now the Hyperlight, and the Axis are the comparable gloves. Like I said earlier, CCM does have a really good custom program for their gloves, so you can get different glove breaks like this 580 in an Eflex or in the Axis line, but as stock off the shelf for that line specifically, this 600 is basically the Supreme comparison. And so those, if you like a Supreme, you'll like, chances are 600, and that's kind of that. Now, first of all, I'm going to get this out of the way because it is really the least important part of any review, but it matters to people and the whole set should look good. This is the worst graphic I've ever seen on any set of gear ever. And I'm probably going to get flamed for this, but that's fine. You cannot make this glove match the pads, and I'll show examples of it. If you use any part of the pad graphic that isn't just the straight lines, this glove just won't match it no matter what. It just doesn't work that way. Now, I always said that this graphic was too busy and like the M was like really Transformers and Autobot, and it kind of was weird how it looks like an M, as you can kind of see there. With that said, as you can see, this graphic matches really well on both. It's not identical, but it still matches really well. All the details are there, and it's pretty decent for that. Now, this graphic is just totally different. Unfortunately, obviously, this is a white one, but I'll overlay some actual comparisons. But you can even see it right here. The catching glove only replicates this section of the graphic and nothing down here. If you do stuff down here, it just doesn't show up in that pattern at all. There's actually certain colors or certain sections of this that just won't show up on the glove whatsoever. And obviously this is a graphic thing, so it's not a huge issue, but I don't understand how you can have a relatively nice graphic, which I really like the Eflex 5 pad and blocker graphic. I think it looks great. You can do some really awesome colorways with it and designs. You have this great look, and it's like the 2 different segmenting looks, and then the glove is only straight lines. What are you doing? It's just really odd to me. obviously this doesn't matter and it's not important, so we'll just get rid of that and we'll move on from there. So one thing I want to cover off this glove right away is I'm 99% sure this is a game ready glove because the store I got this from only sells game ready gloves off the shelves. It's very obviously it's just white. This was the only Eflex 5 that they had. They didn't have any colors or anything. It was just this, and they didn't have any options. So this isn't like some of the more custom stores like Just Hockey or like the hockey shop in BC where they have specific model lines. Like I think you can get a 580 and Eflex 5 at some stores. That's not what this was. It doesn't actually say if it's game ready anywhere, which is kind of odd to me. That was always a really nice thing of CCM stuff in the past where it would say like the palm type and then the angle. For some reason it's not on these. I don't know why, but it's just not there. Kind of disappointing to me. Just it's always good so you can tell what is. Obviously you can tell what the break is, but if you buy like a used set or something, if you buy from a store and you aren't positive and maybe the person who you're dealing with isn't positive, you can just check that label, but it's not there, so it's kind of disappointing. With that said, this is the worst game ready glove I've ever seen and ever picked up. CCM has been bad in the past for their retail gloves in terms of, well, 600 break, specifically in closure. I had a ton of issues with my Pro Palm glove not closing, but then once you break it in, it worked a lot better and was actually really good. So this glove, obviously I can't break it in because it's not mine, but this is the game ready closure and it's horribly bad. And this isn't me trying to make this look bad or me like, you'll see some Instagram accounts of companies that mod gloves and they purposely close gloves bad. That's not what I'm doing here. I have no horse in this race to make CCM look bad or anything. This is just bad, like really bad. The one thing I want to say is when I did my Eflex 4 review and had my Eflex 4 glove, and I'll overlay it here, I had to do some mods to it, basically crushing the foams right here to make it close better. And I do want to say CCM has definitely like slimmed that area out. So it's not as round and doesn't really get in the way anymore. So it does close pretty good there. And that isn't really the part that's really getting in the way. It looks like it there, but it's really the palm that's having problems. It does close over pretty good if you can get around the palm like that. So it's not really this area that's causing anything. It's more like in here and right here, which is causing that to not close. And as a comparison, and this is why CCM doesn't really make a ton of sense. This is a Pro Palm 580. Obviously it's been used, but really there wasn't a ton of break-in process to this. And it closed pretty good, just like this, out of the box. And that was pretty decent. And this is a Pro Palm, obviously ultrasonic. And this thing has been broken in, but it doesn't actually break in that well. So this is how it closes all the time. And this is a Pro Palm. So that Pro Palm closes better than this game ready. And that's bad? Like that's really bad. That barely closes. Now, unfortunately, I can't say, again, because this isn't my glove, if the protection on this is really good, and that's why this doesn't close well. I have past experience with Eflex gloves and their retail protection just wasn't good enough. I can't say that here at all. I can't comment on that whatsoever because I can't use this and this is so stiff that I'm not comfortable making a comment on how the protection on this will be. So unfortunately, that's how it is and that's where I have to leave it. Maybe at one point I'll find a demo set of these and actually give it a go. But for the time being, this is all I can really talk about there. So while CCM does advertise the D30 there and on this little knob right here, and it is right here, you can feel it right there. It's always kind of been in that pocket. According to this little booklet that the CCM kindly includes on all of their gear, which I really like because it does give you little talking points. So when I forget things or have to look things up. So anyways, what this is saying is there is D30 on just that side of the palm now, which would be right here. And it makes sense because you can see that pocket right there. Now the thing is, here's the axis, which has D30 right there, and it has D30 right there. And you can't really feel it on the other side with these gloves because it is on the face side from what I can tell and from what I've ever seen of these. So it's not on like the padded side, it's on the outside of it. And compared to Bauer, Bauer has pour on right here, has pour on right here, and has pour on right here. And you can actually feel that with your fingers on the inside because you can feel where that pour on is and like the softer material compared to where it's not. So that's a nice touch. And it's pretty disappointing to me that CCM has used to have, I should say, D30 in here, taken it out, just put it there when the Axis one has it right there. I have a hard time suggesting the Eflex over the Axis just for that reason. If the Axis 600 still comes with that, so why would they take that out? Clearly it's not to affect closure, because closure on this is not good enough. So what is it? Like, that doesn't close good enough. So why would you take that out? One of the nice things that has changed on this glove compared to previous CCM gloves, and this is kind of a copy of what Lefebvre and True is doing on these style of gloves, because they kind of did it first on these, but it's also a copy of Warrior, because I'm pretty sure Warrior has done it way before everyone else anyways, is the flexible strap. So you can see how this is now elastic and it stretches. So that is a really nice touch there. It's also over here. Again, Lefebvre has been doing this recently on theirs too. It's nice to see it on the Eflex 5 line. It was not like that on the Axis. You can see how loose this one is, just to try to mimic that feel. So this can move around a lot more, because that is just Gen Pro and stays put. Bauer has that now. Basically all the companies are doing that now, but CCM was one of the last to do it. Maybe it was just a release cycle that made that happen, but it wasn't on the Axis, and like Lefebvre did it on the 20.1. So I want to call it out, but props for CCM for going that direction. It was something that was needed, and it was something they did, and it was something that is good. So one thing I want to call out where I was wrong about when I saw pros using this, and so I want to correct that. I thought this area right here and this area right here was an exposed molded foam that you can see on the goalie pads. CCM mentions in this little tag in their booklet that there are a molded design or something. I'm not sure if there's a molded foam under here. I thought this was an exposed molded foam. To me, there's not a ton of point of doing a molded foam and then covering it with speed skin. Bauer, on the other hand, has that molded foam right here and just leave it exposed, because that's kind of the point of molded foams. And CCM has done it in the past right here with the Axis right here with molded foams. So I'm not sure why, if this is a molded foam, that they didn't leave that. I don't really think it is, but I can't tell. And yeah, I thought it was up here too. It wasn't, so that was wrong on my part. Something that CCM does really, really well, and I call out on every single piece of gear I touch of theirs, is their straps. So while this is a nice elastic strap, and I give them props for it, the details they do on the very tips are really, really nice. So they have a speed skin piece here, and then a rubber tab as well. That's going above and beyond. They don't need to do that. That's just a really nice attention to detail. Same with their wrist strap right here, a speed skin piece right there with their logo. Again, not needed, but very nice attention to detail. And it shows up right here as well. For comparison, Bauer doesn't do that on their straps here. It's just their like kind of Gen Pro or sublimated, whatever material is on both. So that's not that great compared to what CCM's was. And then their quick strap here is kind of mediocre as well. But again, that's not a huge performance thing. It's just nice attention to detail that CCM has always been really good at. So I want to make note of it and call CCM out on it, because it's a good thing. The big change on this glove, from what I can really tell, is this piece right here. So that's now a more flexible cuff design. So it has an elastic attachment right here, so it stretches out more. So when you put it on and you flex, it definitely flexes and is more flexible with your arm. Obviously, if you have a chest protector on, this piece is going to get hit earlier and going to move more freely. So it's a solid design there, really opening up that cuff without cutting away that area. Compared to the Axis, which has this design that kind of flares, but with a chest on, it doesn't really move as much, and it could get in the way kind of more easily than what this is. So this is a really good design and a really good change by CCM. The other thing that's pretty good is this strap is actually adjustable like that. I see a ton of companies that do this, and it kind of usually run down here and they don't really pull tight. This one definitely does pull tight just through that part there. So that is a solid design as well by CCM there. Again, props where it is due. So the Eflex 5 does open up pretty good and is honestly a very similar design overall to what the Axis is. The one thing I do want to call out is they did add that nice little piece of that strap there. You can see that black rubber, which again, always a nice touch. It was just speed skin on the Axis. So nice little neat touch right there. Everything else is pretty similar on this glove. There's nothing crazy change on here compared to the Axis, and really compared to CCM in general, nothing I can really notice. Again, I can't use this glove, and I unfortunately don't have an Eflex 4 to compare side by side, so I apologize for that. The material inside is just their normal Nash material, which is soft and comfortable. I can't speak about durability, obviously, because I haven't used this. Whenever I order CCM gloves, or you try to use CCM gloves, I try to get sure grip like is on this Axis. But I will say that while this material isn't quite as grippy as the sure grip, it's not as soft and slippery as the Warrior G5 Nash type material. This one is pretty comfortable and feels fine in your hands, and I don't think it's going to get as slimy as what that Warrior one is going to be. And how you open this glove up is pretty straightforward. You have the strap right here, that wraps around this loop. Again, pretty standard all around. And you have the one down here as well. There's nothing crazy in this glove. It's not, CCM isn't doing anything really nuts. And this right here. But I did mention how I like this cuff, and I do like how this is more squared off. Honestly, it does feel pretty similar to what Lefebvre has been doing. And now true, on their catching gloves, they've really opened that up and be less rounded, more square, but it seems to work really well. It's on their blocker as well. And that's, if CCM's taking from that, I have no issues at all because it works really well. So I mentioned CCM's excellent use of custom options, and I want to reiterate that again because they are one of the companies that kind of really had multiple glove breaks with different graphics for a while before really anyone else, I'm going to say. Bauer has now allowed you to swap graphics on their gloves, and Brian's and Vaughn always do custom graphics as well, but there's some limitations where this one is like pretty straightforward. You can buy any glove that they make, the break angles on with any graphic that they offer at the time, which is a great thing. Obviously, CCM is doing custom graphics for their pros. Not sure when that's coming retail. I really don't understand why it isn't retail already. You do it already, just do it for everyone. You're behind the game already compared to Bauer and everyone else. So it's probably coming, and it will be nicer because then you could actually get this glove matching the rest of the set. Finally, the one test I can do is if the puck slips out under the tee when you go to cover it. Everything looks fine there, and you can pick it up fine. So that should be all good. The tee on this, I want to comment on really quickly, is kind of soft there, and you can basically do that. I like the stiffer tees on my gloves. I found this was really soft on my Eflex 4 when I used it. I never really had issues with it, but it does sometimes pancake out if a puck hits it. But I mean, that's kind of a minor thing. I'm not sure I don't think there's an option for reinforced tee or not, but I just want to call that out. Overall, CCM has done some solid things on this. Specifically, just the straps are really a nice touch. And then this is a lot nicer than what the old one was. But I still think they're kind of missing out. I really wish they did have these exposed molded foams back here. It's on the axis. It should be on this stuff too. It's only on the goalie pads on the knee, but you can use it more, and I kind of wish they went that route. That's not a big thing, obviously. And the unfortunate part about this video and why I'm not really happy with it, but it is what it is. I can't test this out and can't find out how protective it is based on how the closure is, because in all honesty, this closure is absolutely abysmal off the shelf for a game ready product. Like, that's really bad for a game ready. Obviously, you're breaking gloves. It's fine, but CCM 600s, I've never heard more complaints from gloves about not being able to close them, having issues, trying all the break-in methods than I have with the CCM 600s. It's like, that doesn't look like that has fixed anything here. And again, you can break this in to be better than what this is, 100%. And I totally believe that. But I can't for this. And so this is off the shelf. It's pretty bad, especially compared to like Brian's and Vaughn. And they're all cost the same off the shelf. So that's kind of rough, but it is what it is. And unfortunately, I can't test shooting on it. So I can't test the protection levels or anything like that. Disappointing from my end on how horrible this is to close off the shelf, but there's a few decent things in here that make this an okay upgrade over the Eflex 4. I'm happy CCM's doing their own thing now. You now have options between like True and this to get a similar glove. I haven't seen the newest True 600, so I can't comment on it at all and compare it to this. Since their wait times are so long, maybe the CCM is possibly a direction someone wants to go. It's not a bad glove. I just can't comment for protection. I would go a Pro Palm just for safe bets because that's my preference. So that's about it for this video. Sorry, I can't really compare it to a few things I want to, and it's not really in depth with testing and stuff I want. But again, I had to pay full pop for this set, and I can't use it at all because I want to get my money back for this set. So I'm very sorry I can't do more tests and stuff like that. So thank you very much for watching this video. Hopefully it was helpful. Remember, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, links in the description. If you want to see me review a specific gear, reach out to the manufacturers on social media, let them know, say hockey, you want to see hockey reviews, review whatever. Helps me get on the radar. I ask for stuff, I don't get responses. So if you want to see it done, go that route. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you want to support the channel and you live in the United States, check out the link to Pure Hockey, Pure Goalie. Making a purchase through that link gives me a kickback to help, again, support the channel. Otherwise, check out Patreon and buy me a coffee. Everything that goes through there will come right back in here so I can make more content. I would love to do a series with the puck shooting machine on glove protections with the different levels and stuff, but I got to buy all that gear and that's really expensive. So it would really help out for making content. Thank you very much for watching. Check out the other Eflex stuff videos in the description and take it easy.
You're watching HockeyReviews.ca.